Chapter 13. I lie awake for hours, sitting and watching the fire outside the hut. Inside, Ella sleeps on the hammock 6 and Creighton snore under blankets on the floor. After a while, the fire goes from a raging and crackling blaze to glowing embers. I watch the smoke waft through the air, drifting to hang around beneath the canopy of trees. Eventually, the fire dies out entirely. I just can't sleep. For so many years, I was alone with my envy and anger, trapped in that orphanage. Now, finally, I can let it go. Now I believe there's nothing we can't do with all of us together. So I don't know why I still feel this pit in my stomach whenever I get a moment to think. I know what the pit is too. I feel lonely, but I'm not alone. I keep telling myself. I look over at 8. Sleeping as close as he can to the fire for warmth. In the early morning light, all curled up, he looks small. He sleeps restlessly, under a thin blanket of twisted vines. I watch him toss and turn, running his hands through his already messy hair. I stoke the coals to create as much heat as possible, and the crackle is enough to make him stir. I don't know why, but I feel protective of him. At the same time, I think about his muscular arms and I want him to protect me. Must be something about opposites attracting. He is playful and I am, well, not. Creighton's forehead is greased with worry when he finally gets up and wakes the others. We all try to shake off the sleep cobwebs as quickly as possible. I know Creighton is wondering how he's going to get us all on a plane. My thoughts turn to 8's vision of !Kusra. He poses the greatest threat of all. Even more than a bunch of well-armed mogs. I know Creighton doesn't think we're ready to face !Kusra. We haven't developed our legacies enough, we haven't had a chance to learn how to fight together, and we must find 4, 5 and 9 before we face a threat like !Kusra. When I said as much last night, 8 shook his head, frustrated by all the skepticism. I know we could take him, together, he said. I've seen him in my dreams and felt his power. I know what he's capable of, but I also know what we are capable of, and it is far greater than anything he could ever be. I believe in us. But it won't happen if we aren't all convinced. I agree. We do need to bring down !Kusra. But first we need to find the others. The chances of beating him are far better if you are all together, Creighton had argued. I could hear the worry in Creighton's words. 8 stood firm, clearly believing we're enough to take him. My dreams have guided me to you all, and they tell me we can do this. We can't run away, even if it is to find the others. Now 8 stands and stretches, revealing a bit of his stomach as his shirt lifts. He leans down and picks up a walking stick and twirls it in his hands. I can't take my eyes off of him. It's such a new and unusual feeling for me and makes me feel shy and excited at the same time. So where do you want to go? He asks, looking around at all of us. East Coast, United States, 6 says. She kicks the bottom of his walking stick as it swings by and it flips up and into her hand. These two are quite the comedy duo. 6 throws the stick back to him and he makes a big show of diving and missing it on purpose. Their play looks a lot like flirting. I have to admit, it makes me jealous. Even if I wanted to, I could never be this way with 8, with anyone. This is just how 6 is. Easy. No wonder they're having so much fun. Okay, if that's where you want to go, we have a couple options. A plane? Do we have enough money to buy tickets for all of us? Creighton baits his shirt pocket, nodding. That shouldn't be a problem. Great. We head back to New Delhi, buy some tickets, and we can be in the United States in a day or so. Or, we could be in the state of New Mexico in just a few short hours. We can't all teleport, 6 points out, drawing in the dirt with her toe. Maybe we can, 8 says, a sly smile on his face. 6 has drawn a circle and 8 reaches his foot over to add 2 eyes, a nose and a big smiley face. They grin at each other. We just need to take a short walk. Then it's a simple matter of a giant leap of faith. He is clearly enjoying keeping us in the dark. I see the others nodding at him, so caught up in his confidence they forget to ask for any details. I don't want to be the one to point out we have no idea what he has in mind. Sounds a lot faster than a plane, Ella says. And a whole lot cooler. You've got my attention, Creighton says, hefting my chest up onto his shoulder. You need to show us what you're talking about. The quicker, the better. If **! Inverted exclamation mark Khosrau is already here on Earth, we've got to move fast. 8 holds up a finger, telling Creighton to be patient. Then he pulls off his shirt and pants. Wow, not before my morning swim, he says. 8 sprints to the edge of the cliff where the waterfall drops off, without pausing. He dives with his hands out at the side. Like a bird, he seems to float, riding the waves of air. I rush to the edge of the cliff and look over the side, just in time to see him change shape and enter the water as a red swordfish, and then surface as himself. I suddenly get the urge to jump in too, and I follow him. The water is startlingly cool when I dive in, but when I come up for air I can feel my face is flushed. What is going on with me? I'm not usually this impulsive. Nice dive, 8 says, swimming over and treading water close to me. He shakes his head and his black, glistening curls whip around his head. So, do you prefer being called Marina or 7? I don't care. Whatever, I say, feeling shy. I like Marina, he says, speaking decisively for both of us. Is this your first time in India, Marina? Yes, I was in Spain for a long time, in an orphanage. An orphanage? Huh? At least you had lots of kids around you. You could make friends. Not like me. I can see how lonely he's been. I decide not to correct him and tell him how all the other girls hated me and I had no friends until Ella showed up. I just shrug. I guess, I'm happier now. You know what? I like you, Marina, he says. It sounds like he is rolling my name around in his mouth, savoring it. You're quiet, but cool. You remind me of far. Suddenly, there's a huge splash right between 8 and me. The waves rock us away from each other and I watch 6 emerge, her wet blonde hair falling perfectly down her back. She doesn't say a word, then dives back under the water, pulling 8 with her. I dive too, and watch them wrestle underwater until 8, laughing, begs for mercy and 6 lets him go. Damn, you're strong, he says as he breaks the surface, coughing. And don't you forget it, she says, grinning. Now, can we please get out of here? The sight of 6 and 8 all tangled up makes me jealous, but this is not the time for it. I duck my head underwater to give myself a minute to pull myself together. I let the water enter my lungs and I sink and sink, until my toes touch the muddy and rocky floor. I sit down in the mush and try to collect my thoughts. I'm angry at myself for feeling so vulnerable. This is a crush, nothing more. And do I really care if 8 prefers 6's perfect, blonde hair to my mop? I mean, she isn't a threat to me. We have to work as a team, trust one another. I don't want to be angry with 6. Especially after everything she has done for me. For a minute I pace around the bottom, hoping to come up with something witty to say when I surface. I can do this. I realize I'm directly under the spot where the waterfall enters the pool, where the water is clear and sparkling. The glint of something catches my eye. It's a long silver object stuck in the muddy floor. I go to take a closer look. It's maybe 15 feet long and, when I circle it, I'm stunned to realize it's some sort of cockpit behind a long windshield. That's when I see a chest, just sitting there on the seat inside. I can't believe it. Is it possible that this is the silver ship that 8 saw fly away the day that the Mogs attacked, the day that his Saipan was killed? I hear a muffled cry and realize it's mine. I grab a handle on the fuselage and pull. It doesn't budge. The pressure at the bottom of the lake is so strong, but I keep pulling and soon the cockpit door swings open. A rush of water mixes with water that was trapped inside. The chest is slimy when I grab it and race for the surface. The first thing I see is 6 and 8, sitting in the grass and talking. Ella is twirling 8's walking stick over her head, then out in front of her, Creighton is watching Ella, his chin cupped in his hands. Ella sees me coming out of the water and spikes the stick into the grass. Marina. She calls, "Hey, there you are." "Where'd you go?" 8 yells, coming over to the edge. "Come on out, Marina." 6 calls, "We really have to boogie now." I lift the chest up and out of the water, holding it aloft so they can all see it. I don't even care. The most revolting, mucky water is pouring off it and onto my head. I'm grinning so wide, my face hurts. I love the looks on their faces, mouths agape and eyes wide. I'm enjoying it so much I use my telekinesis to float the chest over to 8 and 6 and leave it there. In midair, look what I found. 8 disappears from the grass and reappears up in the air next to the chest. He wraps his arms around it and hugs it, slime and all. Then he teleports back to the edge of the lake, the chest still in his hands. I can't believe it. 8 finally says, "All this time, it was right here." He looks stunned. "It was inside a Mog ship at the bottom of the lake," I say, walking out of the water. 8 disappears again and teleports directly in front of me. Our noses practically touching, before I can register how nice his warm breath feels on my face. He picks me up and kisses me hard on the mouth as he twirls me around. My body stiffens and I suddenly have no idea what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do at all, so I just let it happen. He tastes salty and sweet at the same time. The whole world disappears and I feel as if I'm floating in darkness. When he sets me down, I pull back and look into his eyes. One glance and I know this huge, romantic moment was a spontaneous and grateful gesture for him. No more, no less. I'm an idiot. I really need to let this crush go. I never swim over here. From the start, I always dove off on the other side there. 8 says, "Stuck in the same area." He shakes his head. "Thank you, Marina." You're welcome," I whisper, still dazed by the first part of his thank you. "Now that you've hugged it hello, don't you want to open it?" Creighton asks. "Come on, already." "Oh, right, of course," 8 yells, and he teleports back to the chest. 6 walks towards me. "Marina, that was so awesome." She hugs me, then pulls away to shake me by the shoulders, smiling at me meaningfully. In a low voice, she whispers, "And am I seeing things, or did you just get kissed?" "Kind of weird, right?" I whisper, watching her for any signs of jealousy, "but I don't think it means anything. Not weird at all." "I think it's kind of great," she says, clearly thrilled for me, like a friend, or a sister. I'm ashamed of myself for feeling jealous of her earlier. We both look over at 8 as Ella begins to make a drum roll noise to announce the chest's opening. 8 has his palms on the lock. Almost immediately, it shakes and the chest falls open. He quickly dives in elbow deep, trying to touch everything all at once. He's like a kid in a toy chest. He's so excited. We all crowd around and watch. I can see some of the stones look like mine, but other items are completely different. There's a glass ring, a curved antler, a black piece of cloth that shimmers blue and red when 8 touches it. He grabs a thin piece of gold the length of a pencil and holds it up. "Ah, good to see you again." "What is that?" 6 asks. "I don't know its real name, but I call it the duplicator." 8 holds it above his head, like a wand. Then he snaps his wrist and it expands out, and down, like a scroll. Soon it's the size of a door frame. He lets go and the frame hovers in front of him. 8 steps behind and we can see the occasional pair of hands and feet when he starts doing jumping jacks. Okay. 6 says, that is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. 8 teleports to her side and stands there, head cocked to the side as he scratches his chin, like he's judging a show. Our heads snap back to the golden door frame. The hands and feet are continuing their steady pace. Wait, there are 2 of him now. The one standing next to 6 claps, opens his palm, and the piece of gold contracts and zips back into his hand. Immediately, the second, 8 disappears. Impressive, Creighton says, clapping his hands slowly and loudly. That will come in very handy sometime soon. At the very least, you will make an excellent distraction. I used it to sneak out of our house a few times. 8 admits. Reynolds never figured out what I could do, even before he died. I was always trying to figure out how to do the most with my legacies. Creighton throws 8's clothes to him and picks up my chest. Now, we really need to get going. Or, come on, 8 says, pulling on his pants. As he hops about, he bats his eyes at Creighton and says in a wheedling voice, I just got my chest back. Can't I get reacquainted with it? I've missed it so much. Later, Creighton says curtly. When he turns towards us, though, I can see he is smiling. 8 drops the piece of gold inside the chest and pulls out a green crystal, stuffing it into his pocket. He closes the chest and picks it up with a dramatic sigh. In his most pathetic voice he says, oh, all right, our reunion will just have to wait. Follow me, everybody. How often has Khusra visited you in your dreams? Creighton asks. We've been walking more than 5 hours and we're making slow progress up the mountain. 8 is leading us up a winding path that is more ledge than road. There's a thin blanket of snow everywhere, and the wind is brutally strong. We're all freezing, but 6 protects us with her legacy, pushing the wind and snow out of our way. Weather control is one of the more useful legacies, that's for sure. He's been talking to me for a while now, trying to trick me and get me to lose my temper, 8 says. But now that he's on Earth, it's a lot more frequent. He taunts me, lies, and now he's trying to get me to sacrifice myself so that you all can go back to Lorien. He's been getting to me more than usual lately. What does that mean, exactly? Getting to you, Creighton asks. Last night in a vision he showed me my friend Devon hanging from chains. I don't know if it's a vision of something that's actually happening or just a trick, but it's really messing with my head. 4 sees him too. 6 chimes in. 8 spins around with a surprised look on his face and walks backwards, his mind clearly putting the pieces together. His foot comes dangerously close to slipping off the ledge, making me gasp and reach out nervously, but he never wavers as he continues. You know, I think I saw him last night. I forgot about it until now. He has blonde hair, tall guy, and better looking than you. Yup, that's him, 6 says with a smile. 8 stops backpedaling and looks thoughtful. The drop-off to our left is almost 2,000 feet. You know, I always assumed it was me, but guess I was wrong, he says thoughtfully. Assumed you were what? I ask, willing him away from the edge. The member of the guard who would possess Pittacus Law's powers. Why would you think that? Creighton asks. Because Reynolds told me that Pittacus and Khusra were always able to communicate with each other. But now that I know 4 can, too, I'm confused. 8 starts walking forwards again when Elu asks, what do you mean, possess Pittacus Law's powers? Each of us is supposed to take on the roles of the original 10 elders, so I guess that means one of us will take on Pittacus's powers and role, 6 explains. 4's say Pan told him so, in a letter. I read it myself. Eventually, we're supposed to become even stronger than them. That's why the Mogs are moving so quickly now, before we become more dangerous, better able to protect ourselves and attack them. She looks over at Grayton, who is nodding as she speaks. I feel like I'm the only one who knows so little nothing, really, of my history. Adelina refused to tell me anything, to answer a single one of my questions, or even hint at what I would one day be capable of. Now, I'm so far behind everyone else. The only elder I even know of is Pittacus. Never mind knowing which one I might become. I just have to believe I'll figure out who I am when the time is right. Sometimes, I get sad when I think about everything I wish I already knew and when I think about what my childhood should have been. But there's no time for me to mourn what can't be changed. Ella comes to walk with me, brushing her hand against mine. You look sad. You okay? I smile at her. I'm not sad, but I am mad at myself. I've always blamed Adelina for why I haven't developed my legacies the way that I might have. But look at 8. He lost his Saipan but took what he had and just kept working at it. We walk together in silence for a few more minutes, until 8 speaks. Do you ever wish the elders had given us our inheritance in locked backpacks instead? 8 says, switching his chest to the other arm. I look guiltily at Grayton. I move to take my chest from him, but he just pushes me away gently. I have it for now, Marina. Soon enough I'm sure you'll need to bear its burden alone, but I'll help while I can. We walk for another few minutes until the path along the ridge suddenly ends at a steep cliff. We're a few hundred feet from the peak, and I stare over the Himalayas spread out on my left. The mountains are vast and seem endless. It's a breathtaking sight, one I hope I'll remember forever. So, now where? 6 asks, looking skeptically up at the mountain. There is no way we can go straight up the peak. There don't seem to be a lot of other options, though. 8 points at 2 tall, hulking boulders leaning against the mountainside and then clenches his hand. The boulders separate, revealing a curved stone staircase that winds around and leads inside the rock face. We follow 8 up to the stairs. I feel both claustrophobic and vulnerable. If someone follows us, there's no way out. Almost there, 8 says over his shoulder. The stairs are so cold their iciness seeps up through my feet and body. They finally lead us to a huge rock cavern that has been carved out of the mountain. We pour into it, gazing around in awe. The ceiling is a couple hundred feet high, and the walls are smooth and polished. Carved deep into one of the walls are 2 sets of vertical lines several feet high and spaced 5 feet apart. A small blue triangle sits between the 2 lines, with 3 more curved lines carved horizontally above it. Is that supposed to be a door? I ask, following the lines with my eyes. 8 steps aside, to let all of us see better. It's not supposed to be. It is a door. It's a door to the far corners of the earth. End of chapter. Chapter 14. I pull my hoodie up over my head and hunch my shoulders. 9's wearing a dirty Cubs cap and cracked sunglasses, items he found in the train yard where we jumped off. After an hour's walk south, we're standing against the wall of a platform, waiting for another train. This one is elevated. The L, as Chicagoans call it. The chests in our arms stand out against the other passengers' briefcases and backpacks, and I do my best to act casual. Bernie Koza sleeps comfortably inside my shirt, now a chameleon. 9 is still kind of pissed that I was skeptical that anyone would put a safe house in such a densely populated area. I know Henri would never have chosen such an exposed place. We don't speak as the train rumbles into the station. Bells chime, the doors slide open, and 9 leads me into the last car. When the train pulls away, we watch the city of Chicago slowly grow closer. Just enjoyed the view for now, 9 says. He looks more and more at peace the closer we get to the city. I'll tell you more when we get off. I've never been to Chicago before. We pass what feels like 1,000,000 apartment buildings and houses as we clatter through the different neighborhoods. The streets below are full of cars, trucks, people, dogs being walked, babies being pushed in strollers. Everyone looks so happy and safe. I can't help but wish I were one of them, just going to work or school, maybe for a walk with Sarah to get a cup of coffee, a normal life. Such a simple idea, but it's almost impossible for me to picture. The train stops, people stream off and others push to get on. The train gets so crowded that two girls, a blonde and a brunette, are forced to stand practically leaning over us. Like I said, 9 says, smiling happily, just enjoy the view. After a few minutes, the blonde kicks the chest under my feet. Ow, geez, guys. What's with the ginormous boxes? Vacuum cleaners. I'm nervous and 9's story from the other night is the first thing that pops into my mind. We're salesman. Really? The brunette asks. She looks disappointed. I sag a bit. Even I'm a bit disappointed in my fictional life. 9 takes off his cracked sunglasses and elbows me in the ribs. That was a joke. My friend here, he thinks he's so funny. Actually, we work for an art collector and we're taking these artifacts down to the Art Institute of Chicago. Oh, yeah? The blonde asks. The two girls glance at each other and look pleased. As she turns back to us, she tucks her hair behind her ear. I'm a student there. Seriously? 9 says with a pleased smile. The brunette bends down, looking curiously at the intricate carvings on the lid of my chest. I hate that she's so close to it. So, what's inside? Pirate treasure. We should not be talking to them. We shouldn't be talking to anyone. We're no longer just teenagers trying to blend in with the humans around us. We are alien fugitives who just destroyed a fleet of government vehicles. There's a bounty on my head and I bet they're putting one together for 9 right now. We should be hiding in the middle of nowhere, back in Ohio, or even out west, anywhere but sitting on a packed train in the middle of Chicago, flirting with girls. I open my mouth to say that the chests are empty, to make them stop asking questions and leave us alone. But 9 talks first. Maybe my friend and I could swing by your place later this evening. We'd love to show you what's inside then. Why don't you just show us now? The brunette asks with the pout. 9 looks left and then right. He's really hamming it up. Because I don't trust you yet. You two are kind of, suspicious. You know that, right? Two beautiful girls like you. You're right out of a spy movie. He winks at me. It suddenly dawns on me he's just as bad around girls as I am. He overcompensates and looks kind of ridiculous doing it. It makes me like him more. Even if he is totally embarrassing us both. The girls look at each other and smile. The blonde digs into her purse, scrawls something on a scrap of paper and hands it to him. The next stop is ours. Give me a call after 7 and we'll think about hooking up with you guys somewhere later. I'm Nora. I'm stunned his stunt worked. I'm Sarah, the brunette says. Of course that's her name. I shake my head. If that isn't a blinking sign that we must end this conversation now, I don't know what is. 9 reaches his hand out to shake theirs. I'm Tony, and this handsome stud next to me is Donald. I clench my teeth and give them a polite wave. Donald, cool, Nora says. Well, talk to you later. The train stops and they get off. 9 leans over and waves to them through the window. After the train pulls out of the station, 9 chuckles to himself. He is looking very smug. I elbow him in the ribs. Are you nuts? Why would you deliberately draw that? kind of attention to yourself or to us? You had no right to drag me into your stupidity. And, why in the world would you do anything to encourage them to look at our chests? Let's help. Any girl stupid enough to buy your crap is too stupid to think too hard about any of it. I liked him a whole lot better when he just looked like a loser. Calm down, Donald. You think you could keep your voice from squeaking so loud? It's no big deal. Nothing is going to happen to us here. He leans back, hands folded behind his head. When he speaks again, though, he doesn't sound so puffed up. Sander would have been so damn proud of me just now, you know. I bet you'd never know it, but normally, I'm crazy nervous around girls. And the more I like them, the worse it is. No more. After what I've been through this past year, nothing really scares me anymore. I don't respond. I slump down in my seat and watch the city get taller and taller, the architecture more interesting. There are playhouses, shops and beautiful restaurants all wrapped in glass. Some of the buildings shine so brightly in the sun I have to shield my eyes. Cars clog the roads below us, their honks reaching us up on the track. No place could be more different from Paradise, Ohio. Our train stops and starts up again through 2 more stations, then 9 tells me to stand up. We're next. A minute later we're walking east on Chicago Avenue, each of us carrying our chest under an arm. Lake Michigan is straight ahead. When the crowd around us thins, 9 says, Sander loved Chicago, and he thought it was smart to hide in plain sight in a city like this. No chance of sticking out. Always a crowd to disappear into, that kind of thing. I mean, think about it, where are you more anonymous than in a busy city? Henri would never have allowed it. Being in a city like this would have freaked him out. He hated being anywhere he couldn't keep an eye on anyone who might have an eye on us, on me. And that's why Sander was the best Saipan that ever lived. He had rules, of course. First and most important, don't be stupid. 9 sighs. Amazingly, he has no idea how infuriating, how insulting this talk about Sander is. I'm pissed and I don't care who knows it. Oh, yeah? If Sander was so great, why did I find you in the Mogadorian prison cell? I feel horrible the minute I say it. 9 misses Sander, and we're in the last place they spent real time together, where Sander told 9 he was safe. I know how powerful that kind of assurance is. 9 stops dead, right in the middle of a busy corner with people streaming past us. He steps up to me until our noses are inches apart. His fists are clenched, not to mention his teeth. You found me in that cell because I made a mistake. It was my mistake, not Sander's. And you know what? Where's your Saipan? You think yours was so much better than mine? Wake up, idiot. They're both dead, so I really doubt one was so much better than the other. I feel bad for what I said, but I'm sick of 9 trying to bully me. I push him away. Back off, 9, I mean it. Just back off, and stop talking to me like I'm your little brother. The light changes and we cross the street, both of us fuming. I follow him onto Michigan Avenue and we walk in silence. At first I'm too angry to pay attention to my surroundings, but slowly I become aware of the skyscrapers above me. I can't help it. This city is awesome. I look around. 9 sees me admiring the city, his city, and I can feel his mood softening. You see that big black one with the white spires on top? 9 asks. He looks so happy to see this building I forget I'm pissed at him. I look straight up. That's the John Hancock Center. It's the 6th tallest building in the country, and that, little brother, is where we're headed. I snatch him by the arm and pull him to the side of the sidewalk. Wait a minute. That's your safe house? One of the tallest buildings in the city is where you think we're going to hide? You've got to be kidding me. That's nuts. 9 laughs at the incredulous look on my face. I know. It was Sander's idea. The more I think about it, the more brilliant I realize he was. We stayed here for over 5 years, no problems. Hiding in plain sight, baby. Hiding in plain sight. Right. Are you forgetting about the part where you got caught? We are not staying there. 9. Not a chance in hell. We need to go back to the train. Figure out a new plan. 9 rips his arm out of my grip. We got caught, Donald, because of someone I thought was my friend. She'd been working with the Mogs and I was too stupid to notice. She betrayed me and I couldn't see beyond her nice ass, so Sando was captured. I watched him being tortured, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. The one person I loved more than anyone in the world. In the end, the only thing I could do for Sando was put him out of his agony. Death, the gift that keeps on giving. His sneer can't hide the pain in his voice. Fast forward 1 year and I see your ugly face outside my prison cell. He points up at the John Hancock Center. Up there, we were safe. It's the safest place you'll ever be. We'll be trapped, I say. If the Mogs find us up there, there's nowhere to run. Oh, you'd be surprised. He winks and then walks towards the building. All of a sudden I am very conscious of just how many people are going by us. I'm nervous as hell, without a single clue where else I should be or go. One thing I know for sure, the Mogadorians keep getting better at blending in, so I have zero confidence we'd even know it if one just brushed by. This thought terrifies me so much I literally twitch as it occurs to me. And I have to assume there are thousands of cameras all over Chicago, and with the Mogs and the government working together, the Mogs probably have access to them. Great. We're on some predatory candid camera and there is nothing we can do about it. Inside, anywhere inside, is going to be safer than standing around out here. I put my head down and follow 9. The lobby is amazingly luxurious. There's a grand piano, leather furniture, and sparkly chandeliers. At the far end I see 2 security desks. 9 hands me his chest and takes off his cap. One of the security guards is a large bald guy who is seated behind the desk. Until, that is, he sees 9. Then, he lets out a howl and leaps to his feet. Hey, will you look at who the cat dragged in? You don't write, you don't call. Where the heck have you been? The man asks, shaking 9's hand, his other hand clutching his arm. He just stands there, beaming at 9. The long-lost son returns, and all that, I guess. 9 is grinning at him with real affection and puts his other hand on the man's shoulder. Oh, I think a better question is, where haven't I been? Next time, tell us when you're taking off. I worry. Now, where's that uncle of yours? He looks over 9's shoulder, as if expecting Sander to come up behind him. 9 doesn't miss a beat. Europe, France, actually. No flinch, nothing. He's good. I know how hard this must be for him. He got some kind of visiting teaching gig. Yup, 9 says. He nods at me. It's a long gig. He's thinking about maybe even taking a permanent spot, so I've been staying with my friend Donald on the south side. We need to hang upstairs for a while so we can work on a history project. Check out these boxes, man. We have work to last us months. I look down at the chests in my arms and the security guard stands aside and lets us walk past. Sounds like you guys have yourselves a plan. Hey, nice to meet you, Donald. Good luck with your project. Same here, I say, and thanks. I'm trying to sound friendly, but it's hard. 9 is clearly fine with this guy knowing his comings and goings, noticing his absence, setting up a lie. It might be hard to back up later on, but I hear Henri's voice in my head, warning me this is the exact opposite of what we should be doing. I tried to shake off the nerves making my stomach do flips. Second-guessing things won't help. We make our way to a small elevator bank and 9 presses a number. The light above one of the sets of elevator doors brightens with a big arrow pointing up. Oh, hey, Stanley." The security officer jogs over just as we are about to step through the elevator doors, his keys jingling on his belt. I look at 9 with a smirk. "Stanley," I mouth. "That's worse than Donald." "Not now," he mumbles back. "I've got a bunch of packages for you. We've been holding them in storage. We didn't know where you were and you didn't leave a forwarding address. You want me to send them up? Give us an hour to settle in first, okay?" 9 asks. "Absolutely, boss." The guard salutes as we step into the elevator. Once the doors are closed, I feel Bernie Kosar crawl from one of my shoulders to the other, and back again. He tells me he's tired of hiding. "Just a few more minutes," I say. "Yeah, BK," 9 says. "We are just about home, finally." "How could you be so confident this place would be yours to come back to? I mean, you've been gone a really long time." There seems to be no situation, no idea that makes 9 second guess what he believes. I wish I could be like that. Even if he isn't always right, it makes for a great team member and an even better warrior. Sander set everything up. Payments for this place are made automatically from his account. We always kept things pretty vague about what he did, and we referred to his 8 teaching gigs the other times when we went away for months. Clearly, people bought it. 9 presses a series of numbers into a small keypad below the floor numbers and the elevator rockets upwards. The numbers increase so fast I barely have time to think about how high we're going. We pass the 80th floor and then start to slow down. We come to a stop and the doors open silently, and we step directly into an apartment. I look up at the huge crystal chandelier hanging above 2 couches in the living room. Everything seems to be bright white with gold trim. "This is your apartment? You can't be serious," I say. "Yup, we've got our own private entrance," he says in response to my amazed look. "I thought only people on TV lived like this." It's completely boggling my mind that this place belongs to a guard member. I see a camera in the upper right-hand corner of the room, pointed our way, and instantly shield my face. But 9 explains it's a closed-circuit camera that can be monitored only from inside the apartment. "After you," he says, bowing low and sweeping his arm in welcome with an exaggerated flourish. "I can't believe you guys have the whole floor," I say, looking around with my mouth agape. I hear 9's hand slide along the wall as he says, 2 whole floors. As a matter of fact, 9 hits another switch and dozens of dark shades rise to reveal floor-to-ceiling windows. The room is bathed in sunlight. Bernie Kosar leaps out of my jacket and turns into a beagle. I walk over to the window and look out at the view. It's incredible. The whole city of Chicago is spread out below. Lake Michigan is a sheet of bright blue on the left. I set my chest on a plush recliner and place my forehead against the window. As I look down on the roofs of other buildings, I hear something start to whir in the apartment behind me, then feel a whoosh of fresh air from the vents near my feet. "Hey, you hungry?" 9 asks. "Sure," I say. It's weird, but from this height, everything looks fake. The cars, the boats on the water, the trains snaking around on the elevated tracks. To my surprise, I do feel safe. I mean, really safe. I actually feel as if nothing can touch me, get me, up here. It's been a long time since I felt this way. It's almost strange. I hear the door to a refrigerator open. I am so psyched to finally relax. 9 calls from the kitchen. "Hey, make yourself at home, take a shower, eat some frozen pizza. We even have time to chill, sleep, before it's time to call those girls." When was the last time you could say any of that? Man, it is good to be home. It's hard to turn away from the view. It's kind of mesmerizing. I want to just stand here, right here in this spot, and enjoy feeling safe. The only thing better would be if Henri and Sarah and Sam and Six were here with me. Something soft and crinkly hits the back of my head, an energy bar, let me show you around. 9's giddy, like he's psyched to show off his toys. I munch on the bar as we walk through a living room filled with plush couches and leather recliners. A giant flat-screen television hangs above marble fireplace, and on the glass coffee table stands a vase of fake orchids. There is a layer of dust on every surface. 9 says he'll get a cleaning service up to deal with it as he runs a finger over one particularly well-coated table. In the hallway, he opens the first door on the right. My jaw drops. Standing there are two huge Mogadorian soldiers with alabaster skin and long black hair, wearing black trench coats. They stand just inside, guns poised and ready to shoot. The weeks of training with Six and Sam surge through my brain and I rush the closest one and duck under his cannon. Then I deliver an uppercut to his chin and follow that with a thrust kick to his abdomen. The Mog is stunned and falls straight backwards. I look around for something to stab him with, but all I see are free weights and punching gloves. That's when 9 runs in and playfully kicks the other Mogadorian in the groin before flicking its nose. His Mog wobbles on its heels before tipping sideways. It takes one more second before I realize these are just dummies. 9 doubles over and when he finally catches his breath, he slaps my back. My, those are some fine reflexes. He howls. My cheeks are blazing hot. You could have warned me. Are you kidding? I've been thinking about doing that to you since we got on the L. Man, that was great. Bernie Kosar enters the room and sniffs at the rubber feet of the Mogadorian I leveled. He looks up at me. They're for training, BK, 9 says, chest puffed proudly, sweeping an arm out wide. We call it the lecture hall. I take my first real look around. It's a huge, empty room. On the far end, there's a control panel, like a cockpit. 9 walks over and sits at the console and starts flicking switches and typing in commands. From the walls, the ceiling and the floor, combat situations and weapons. He spins the chair around to face me, eager to see how impressed I am. I'm immediately jealous of the time he must have spent here, and it shows. This is a broken bar. I raise my eyes to the ceiling. I can't even find the words. It makes me embarrassed about what I've been doing all this time. My so-called training space was the snow in my backyard, on with Six and Sam at the pool. Suddenly, I'm resentful about Henri moving us around so often, not giving me the kind of training I clearly needed to do my part. If we had made a place like this, then maybe I would be as confident and strong as 9. Maybe Sandra really was the better Saipan. You haven't seen the best part yet, 9 says. We move through the training room and he opens a vault-like door in the back. There are shelves and shelves of weapons, guns, swords, knives, explosives and more. There's a whole wall just for ammunition. 9 pulls a large automatic rifle topped with a scope off a shelf and aims it at me. You'd be surprised how easy it was to buy all this stuff. Gotta love the internet. He walks towards me with the gun and pushes a button over my shoulder. The far end of the room separates to uncover a firing range longer than a bowling alley. 9 grabs a box of bullets and loads the rifle. Then I watch as he blows to bits a paper target 90 feet away. Don't worry, these rooms are pretty well soundproofed, but we're so high up that no one could hear us anyway. A door down the hall leads to a surveillance room. He walks up to a light switch near the front door and flicks the switch while leaning down and placing his face close to it. A faint blue light scrolls over his eyes and the computers come to life. Retinal scan. Cool. Very cool. Clearly, Sando was able to set up a high-tech security system. There are a dozen computers and even more monitors. We're tapped into every camera in the John Hancock Center, all 100 floors of it, plus what seems to be every camera around the city that's controlled by the Chicago Police Department. 9 touches something on a keyboard and the largest screen in the room comes to life. showing a photo of a muscular man in a black Italian suit. It's beautiful cloth and perfect cut apparent even in the grainy picture. He has black hair and a thick beard, and he's holding two laptops. I look at 9, wondering why he's showing me this. "That's Sander," 9 says after a minute. His voice is different. I hear less bravado. He turns to me. I hear vulnerability. "Come on, you have a decision to make. An important one." He pauses for dramatic effect. "Which room will you choose to stay in? There are a few of them to check out. Take your time. The pizzas won't take long." End of chapter.